Your alarm goes off. You check the news. Another major industry has just been fully automated. Overnight, an algorithm took over what hundreds of thousands of people once did. Yesterday, you had a job title. Today, you have a notification. Scenes like this are no longer science fiction. Large consultancies now estimate that up to 30% of hours worked in the global economy could be automated by 2030, with millions of workers forced to change occupations or skills. As generative AI and robotics accelerate, the question is no longer whether jobs will change, but what happens to our sense of purpose when earning a living is no longer the center of life. Imagine the year 2035. In many advanced economies, AI handles customer support, analyzes contracts, optimizes logistics, and even drafts code. Industrial robots weld, sort, and package with almost no human supervision. Self-driving fleets have reshaped transport and delivery. Analyses from McKinsey, Goldman Sachs, and others converge on one core message: a huge share of repetitive and predictable tasks across both blue-collar and white-collar roles can be automated by 2030-2040. Some projections suggest that in the United States alone, tens of millions of workers may need to shift occupations, even if total employment does not drop one-to-one. Reports from the World Economic Forum and others suggest a turbulent transition, tens of millions of jobs lost or transformed, but also tens of millions of new jobs created, often demanding very different skills. For societies built on the idea that adults must earn a living through stable employment, this is more than an economic transition. It is a psychological shock. Work is more than a paycheck. Decades of research in psychology show that humans thrive when three basic needs are met: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. This framework, called self-determination theory, suggests that people seek to feel in control of their lives, capable at what they do, and connected to others. When jobs disappear or become fragmented into tasks on a platform, people do not just lose income. They risk losing daily structure, a sense of mastery, and a community, key ingredients of mental health and well-being. This is not the first time technology has forced humanity to ask who we are without our old jobs. During the Industrial Revolution, machines displaced artisanal labor, but also created new factory and service roles. In the 20th century, automation cut many manufacturing jobs, yet office, creative, and care work expanded. Today's transition is different in speed and scope, but history shows that when the nature of work changes, societies eventually rebuild identity around new roles: citizens, consumers, creators, caregivers. The challenge now is to do that in a world where machines take over not only physical labor, but also many cognitive routines. Researchers warn that large-scale job disruption, if unmanaged, can increase anxiety, depression, and social fragmentation. Yet the same psychological theories that help explain this crisis also hint at an opportunity. If autonomy, competence, and connection can be satisfied outside of paid employment, then purpose can move beyond the narrow confines of a 9-to-5 job. There are already communities where identity is not tightly tied to paid work. Studies of retirees and volunteers show that when people engage in meaningful activities, mentoring, creative projects, community service, their well-being often remains high, especially when social ties and a sense of usefulness are preserved. These groups preview what a larger post-labor segment of society might look like. One of the most discussed ideas for a post-labor world is universal basic income, a regular cash payment to individuals with no conditions, designed to guarantee basic security in a volatile labor market. This is not just a theory on whiteboards. In Finland's 2017-2018 national trial, 2,000 unemployed people received a monthly basic income of €560 unconditionally. Evaluations found that while employment effects were modest, recipients reported higher life satisfaction, less stress, and greater trust in institutions than those on traditional unemployment benefits. Similar experiments have emerged elsewhere. In the Canadian province of Ontario and in city-level pilots in the United States, such as Stockton, guaranteed income programs provided modest, unconditional cash to low-income residents. Analyses of these pilots show patterns. Participants often use the money to stabilize basics like food and rent, reduce debt, and invest in education or small business ideas, while maintaining or even improving their engagement in work and community activities. Far from creating widespread laziness, basic security frequently unlocked initiative. One risk in a post-labor world is becoming time-rich and purpose-poor, more free hours but less direction. Without intentional design, inequality could widen between a minority with meaningful creative or leadership roles and a majority left disconnected. Experts on the future of work argue that education and social institutions will need to shift from training for specific jobs to cultivating lifelong capacities, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, collaboration, and digital literacy that can apply across many changing roles, paid or unpaid. Not all futures are equally bright. Experts warn of a scenario where advanced AI is owned by a small number of corporations and states, capturing most of the gains while many people are pushed into precarious, low-control gigs or permanent unemployment. Designing a humane post-labor society requires policy choices, progressive taxation of high-productivity automation, robust safety nets like basic income or negative income tax, universal access to education and digital infrastructure, and strong labor protections for remaining human essential work, such as care, health, and education. In the coming decades, societies that thrive will likely be those that decouple dignity from employment status, guarantee basic security, and invite everyone into creativity, learning, and service. The next act for humanity is not to outcompete our machines, but to redesign our systems so that technology frees us to become more fully human. When the algorithm takes your job, it does not have to take your purpose. The real challenge is not whether AI will change the future of work, it is whether we will change the meaning of a fulfilled life.